What's going on, guys? Sorry for that clickbait title and all that kind of stuff, but when you want to make a point, you just have to do it. It seems like it's the going thing now. I've seen some pretty big YouTubers out there in the FPV community doing the same thing. So let's talk about these Betaflight 4.0 Flyaways. So Betaflight 4 has definitely brought a lot of new and interesting stuff with dynamic filtering changes and dynamic D-term filtering. They've also kind of made everything just kind of work to just be more of an aggressive type of a tune, I believe, default out of the box. I think there is a maturity factor here in our hobby where there is a majority of people now, like myself, who have been doing this for, well, I've been in it for 5 to 6 years, let's say 2 to 3 years of doing this FPV stuff. And most people have a basic understanding on how to look at, say, a black box log and look at how much noise is generating in your quad and trying to figure out how you can make subtle changes to reduce that noise. Not in Betaflight, but mechanically. Things like soft mounting motors, using Loctite to make sure all of your stuff is together, and just using good stuff. You know, I run mostly for my freestyle rigs, you know, the $30 Source 2 frame. And the Source 2 is thick arms. It's got a lot of meat here under the stack. You know, I'm running a Revolt flight controller in there with the Revolt, with the Bolt 32 ESC. So it's all Flight 1 stuff. And, you know, the Flight 1 gyro is, you know, super sensitive compared to the MPU 6000 gyro that everybody uses. But since my quad is clean and my motors are good and there's just so much nice thick carbon underneath there, my noise profile is perfect. It rides within that 150 to 250 hertz range for the gyro. Same thing for the D-term, like it's all chunked right there. Pre-filtering and after filtering. Like if you look at a black box log, and we'll get into maybe some of that stuff in another video, but if you look at like your filtered gyro data and you have humps and bumps in like certain spots, I mean, you shouldn't have that. You should have all of your big noise right here on this side, and it should clip down and just basically be a straight, this is hard to do, a straight line all the way over like that. A lot of people probably still don't even know how to do that or don't want to. And that's why they rely on the developers and the firmware to get that stuff done. So some of the changes from 4.0 have already been implemented into 3.5, 3.56, 3.7. So there is some new stuff that's thrown in there, but just bits and pieces. Most of you have been flying this stuff if you've upgraded already. So if we look at the 4.0 tuning notes, which have been changed, you know, they'll tell you right here that 4.0 is very sensitive to high P and D values. 6S ultralight builds cut your PID values. All right, so for 6-inch freestyle, most of you guys are going to be okay. 6S freestyle, you're going to be okay on defaults. I'm not a big fan of copy and pasting things like this, just because it's just, I don't like these bulk shots of changing all this stuff when you don't know what's going on. And this is the big one to look at right here. Help, it just took straight off when I armed, and they're saying that they believe D is the underlying cause. High power to weight ratio, you get bad gyro readings from, you know, Banggood frames that have misdrilled holes and guitar string carbon. And basically they're telling you to lower your PIDs, lower some of your D gains, and they're also dropping the low pass filter all the way down to 100 hertz to pick up that extra noise that is being generated. You're never going to know unless you look at like a log to see if you have that stuff anyway. So if you have a quad that's like oscillating and vibrating and stuff all over the place, I mean, chances are it's going to be your frame or your motors or something else. It's not going to be the software. There is some nice stuff here that if you are on 3.5 and you like the way it flies, but you want to take advantage of some of the stuff in 4.0, to just go ahead and copy and paste this stuff, which all this really is just turning off DMIN and setting the actual automatic filters to something that is more in line with what was running on 3.5 and then above. If we take a look at my current configuration, you can see my current PIDs and rates that I'm flying here, and this is a little bit different. So I am flying with Mark's latest video that he did that was talking about flipping DMIN and using actually D as a boost. So I make my DMINs really low, my D's really high, and then I put my gain here. So this has actually been working really well, and I've got some logs and stuff and some flight footage that we'll be going over here within the next couple days, and I'll show you guys exactly what's going on with all that kind of stuff. And then here is the rest. And really, when it comes to filters, the only thing I've done is I've set my FFT frequency to 670, and I've changed this to PT1 just because I've looked at my filters and looked at my spectrographs on Blackbox and PID Toolbox, and I'm pretty comfortable that my noise is between 150 Hertz and 250. Actually, it's like about 165-ish, so I could probably push these up to about 170 and see what happens, but right now I'm not going to. But I did change this to PT1 instead of biquad. Reduces the phase delay a little bit and just kind of makes things overall a little bit more responsive because we're getting rid of some of the filtering. So don't buy into like the hype that Betaflight 4 is like not good and you're going to have a flyaway and you're going to have all these kind of problems. But definitely be cautious that if you're running old stuff, if you're running a flimsy frame, if you're running a frame that you had to spend hours on to get rid of like weird vibrations and stuff like that when you're flying at like different throttles, then you might want to go ahead and copy and paste those fly to the moon settings before you even take your first flight and not run this stock stuff and do what they say. Work on one thing at a time and find out your problem. That's it, guys. Rant over. Be back with some more tuning and some flight footage, and we'll show you the data and stuff that's going on. I think you guys are going to be pretty impressed with what's going on with these Source 1s. So they are flying just amazing. So anyway, talk to you guys later.